Someone got inside.
One of the cleaners. Find them.
Okay, Joey, get a grip. Your brother needs you.
Before we get into Cleaner, and I have a lot of questions on Cleaner, I want to do something called Get to Know Daisy Ridley.
Sure.
I can already see that you're like so excited.
Yeah.
So these are basically like get to know her, fun, some serious, not really. We'll see what happens. And if her face starts looking bad, that means I'm doing a terrible job. Okay. What movie do you think you've seen the most?
Maybe something like Love Actually, but also it's probably an animated movie. Oh God. Love Actually, probably, yeah.
Before getting cast in The Force Awakens, you worked in, I think, 2 pubs in London. What were the pubs' names, if you remember? And what's like your strongest memory of that time being, I guess, a bartender? I don't know what you did.
I was a bartender, yeah. The 2 pubs are quite near my mum's house, so I'm not going to shout them out. But the very strange situation I had was there was a guy that used to come into the first pub I worked in. So I hadn't seen him in years and years and years. And I was in Paris doing press for Sometimes I Think About Dying. And we were in the 19th arrondissement. We were not in the centre of Paris. And I was having breakfast and I was looking at this guy thinking, I really recognise this guy. Is he an actor? And he was the guy from the pub. And he came over, he was so sweet. And weirdly, he did a book about David Bowie, which was also very strange. But we had this strange reconnecting in Paris somewhere after I hadn't seen him since I literally served him a glass of wine in the pub years before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, how many times have you watched The Force Awakens?
Imagine I was like 50. I've watched it maybe 3 times around the time it came out. And then weirdly it was on in the gym when I was working out, so I saw a bit of it recently.
Can you watch yourself on screen, or are you one of these people that you go to the premiere, say hi, and then immediately disappear?
I feel like I've been able to separate sort of watching myself from the film as a whole, and I want to watch the film as a whole. It's never really comfortable, but certainly when it came on recently, I was like, oh. And it really felt like very sweet to watch very young me on the screen.
If you're feeling down, what is the movie or TV show you go to?
Friends, probably.
I've heard that from 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
What is your go-to fast food choice?
Oh, a burger from a place called Honest Burgers. They do a banging vegan burger.
What's a project that you wish more people had seen?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, probably Magpie, though. Many of you have seen it. Because it's very personal and close to my heart, and I love the movie.
Yeah, if anyone has not seen Magpie, idea by Daisy, real good, and people in here can verify. Because, what's a stunt you wish you didn't do?
Interesting. I mean, there is a bit in this, not that I wish I didn't do it, but the constant... When I drop from the ceiling, I actually talked about this in the last time I saw you, but it was out of context. When I suddenly become Spider-Woman and I dropped from the ceiling and put the bag over the guy's head, the way I was being maneuvered, I had to be wrenched so hard and smacked into the thing that I think I pulled something out of my shoulder, because we had to do that quite a few times. So it wasn't that I wished I didn't do it, but it was one of those ones that it lasted a while, the pain.
Would you say that was the toughest stunt of your career?
No. What would I say was the toughest? That one was tricky, though, because the choreography of it all. Basically, I was up there. There were 2 guys holding me in the corner on a rope. So it wasn't a pulley system, and often that is how you measure everything. But when it's people, there's a margin of error. So someone had to hold my toes because I was sort of swinging the way it was. I was sort of free gliding in the harness. So someone had to hold my toes, then they had to run away, and they would go 3, 2, 1 action. My heart's pounding because I know I have to land in the right place, put the bag over the head, do the wrench, and get it all right. So in terms of choreography and making sure it was camera ready, it took like 15 tries or something. So it was intense.
Speaking of takes, what's the most takes you've ever done for a project, and why?
Martin is a many taker. And he really is, he's so specific about everything. Yeah, I would say that we probably did more takes with him than I have done before. He's just very specific.
Sure. Do you still have someone on your bucket list that you are like begging your agents to get me in that movie or TV show?
Yeah. I mean, there's loads.
Is there someone at the top of the list?
At the top of the list, I mean, Greta Gerwig is up there, yeah.
Have you asked to be in Narnia?
Yeah, but I was like, oh, it's going to be Saoirse Ronan. And you know what? I'm such a huge fan. And of course, she's going to be absolutely amazing. And it might not be. But yes, I asked. Yeah, I'm shameless.
By the way, you should. Like, I say this to people all the time. You should absolutely put out there that you want to do something.
Yeah, I just feel like she's so brilliant with actors. And the fact that actors keep working with her again is such a testament to her. I love her movies. Yeah.
Is there someone, if you had the opportunity to talk to someone who is no longer with us, an actor or a director, who would you love to have had a conversation with?
Interesting. Maybe Audrey Hepburn. Oh, a murmur. Yeah. I just feel it would be interesting to know. What was it like being Audrey Hepburn? Just generally.
Absolutely.
Wild. Yeah.
Have you ever picked a project based on where it's shooting?
No. But when a nice location comes up, you think, oh, lovely. But no.
I read that you were a big Harry Potter fan when you were growing up. What house do you think you'd be put in?
I was either Gryffindor or Ravenclaw. There's a huge Harry Potter series being made. Yeah.
They're going to do like 7 seasons or 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Have you asked anyone to be a part of it?
I haven't asked to be a part of it because honestly, those performances are so phenomenal that I feel it would be so terrifying to take on one of those roles. It's
also a huge commitment of time.
A huge commitment of time, but really I just love the films. I love the performances. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with them because they will clearly be so different. But, oh my God, the pressure would be so high.
Do you have a strategy for social media or do you wing it each day?
I wing it. Yeah. My algorithm tends to be sweet videos of babies and when the parents come home and they're happy. I don't know why. So yeah, it tends to be a winging it situation and watching sweet videos.
You've been in 3 Star Wars movies. How would you rank them?
Sophie's choice. I abstain.
I am fascinated by how actors like to get ready for a role. So hypothetically, let's talk about Cleaner. So say you're filming Cleaner on September 1st.
Yeah.
What are you doing in that month leading up to filming in terms of what's your 9 to 5 Monday through Friday? Are you in training? How are you looking at the script? How are you thinking about your performance so you are comfortable when you step on set that first day, I have this?
For this, I had about 6 weeks of physical training. So my 9 to 5, I would go and do a general workout, and then I would go and do fight training for 3 hours. And then, it really depended on the day. Some gun training, some wire work, and that was pretty consistently 4 or 5 days a week for that time.
Can I ask, is it a 9 to 5 or is it you're going in at 10, you're done at 2?
Yeah, it's fairly short because you'd just be so physically, just be burnt out before you started filming, working at that intensity. So it would be probably realistically in the room doing stunt work for 4 hours, on and off. And then I would often be speaking to Martin and either, I remember doing a chemistry read with Matt that plays my brother. We'd be talking through stuff, talking to the writer, getting to grips with various bits and bobs, fittings, so that was happening in the sort of 6 weeks before filming, and then thinking a lot about how it might go.
And how much are you looking at the script and thinking about dialogue in, like, when are you starting to break that stuff down so it starts to become like muscle memory? Or how much are you sort of like, well, what am I filming the first week?
Yes, with this, because so much of it was, I was alone, and it was quite sort of overwhelming to think about how many scenes I had alone and the different sort of headspaces I was in for each. I took it more chunks of time of how we were filming it. And then physically I knew I'd be working up to stuff because I knew when the fights were going to be. But yeah, I took it in sort of, so I obviously had read the script and studied and all of that sort of stuff, but then it was week by week. So on the Sunday, I'd be looking through everything that was coming the following, and then each night really preparing for the next day.
How much did Martin want to block shoot or film certain things in order? And how much was this like you filming the end first?
He was wonderful in that we filmed chronologically, but we did obviously do things in certain sequences. Like when I'm in the cradle, we would do those sequences in order. When it was tilted in various sections of the film, but we would always work chronologically. So we would never start at the last scene first, but sometimes we'd be going scene 10 to scene 30 to scene 100.
Jumping backwards to sort of a Hollywood thing, what is stuff that you've learned as an actor over the last decade that you wish someone had told you earlier in your career about the industry or acting on sets of big movies?
Interesting. I don't know that I feel I know anything now that I didn't know then. I feel like we all, as actors, have a responsibility to know our lines, know what we're doing, and turn up prepared and ready to go, and be nice to other people. So I feel like, that's, we're all just trying to be the best people on set, and I suppose try and just be as present as possible. But again, I always knew that. But really, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know how the scene's going to go. You could prepare and prepare and prepare for A, and then B would happen or C would happen. Maybe it's being okay with things not going how you thought they might go.
You're number one on the call sheet on this movie. And I'm just curious, what kind of added responsibility do you feel when you are the leader of a movie and you are on the poster? And you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you've seen other people where you've watched them be the number one on the call sheet. And what did you learn when you were watching them that you're like, I need to do this when I'm that person?
I think it's probably the previous answer. I feel like we are all... the fact of it is, of course, we're making films and we want the films to be excellent, but you also are spending so much time with the people on set, and everyone is working so hard. So all one can do in any sort of position of number one or HOD or whatever it is set an example to everyone else that you would hope that other people would do. Like being on time, knowing what you're doing, knowing your lines, just generally, making other people's days not difficult.
I've never heard of any actors that made, I'm not going to mention any names. Yeah. I really want to, but I'm not going to. What have the last few years been like for you? Because I just want to point out, you've done such different roles, from the Marsh King's Daughter to Magpie, Young Woman in the Sea. Sometimes I think about dying, Cleaner. You have We Bury the Dead coming out at South by. What's it been like for you? Because a lot of times certain actors are like, I don't want to say pigeonholed, but they're doing the same thing again and again. And these are such different roles.
I feel really genuinely blessed that I have not been pigeonholed. And it's weird, the way I feel about the work I've been doing is, on the plane over here, I watched Smile 2, then The Pelican Brief, and then Practical Magic. Like, I love such different films for various different reasons. I love all different sorts of actors and directors. So getting to do my version of that and getting to work with different people in different genres as different roles is so wonderful, that the last few years has felt really great, really great, and feels so like each project has had its challenges to overcome, whether it be emotional or physical or stamina-wise for young women in the sea. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this day after day after day when I'm exhausted? And, so all of that has been a really wonderful learning process, and I get to work with really great people.
I just want to say, for people who have not seen Young Woman in the Sea, it's fucking... it's really worth your time. It's streaming on Disney Plus.
Thanks.
In case you haven't seen it, it's real good. So quick question. Your character here in Cleaner, if she were to fight Hans Gruber in Die Hard, what's the result?
I feel like eventually she'd win, but it would be a cat and mouse game, much like it is in Die Hard. He's a wily fellow.
I think that Hans Gruber and Alan's performance, I think it might be, if not the best antagonist in he's one of the best villains in movie history.
But then, because I watched Robin Hood as well, Prince of Thieves, over Christmas, he's an excellent baddie in that.
He's amazing in that.
Yeah.
A completely different role, but amazing.
And then, lest we forget, Severus Snape.
Or Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I could keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just got so much, honestly, rewatching him, he's just got so much tangible.
Can I also tell you the best story I've heard about him? That he would go out for dinner with people, and people would always be like, let me pay. And he'd be like, I got it, Harry Potter.
Nice. Iconic.
And I was like, that is amazing.
Nice.
So you are offered a lot of scripts. You read a lot, a little generic, but what was it about this one that said, oh, I want to do this?
Honestly, the first thing I saw was Martin Campbell. I was like, legend. And then I read it, and I found the story to be very propulsive. And of course, I would assume that the goodies would win, but I couldn't figure out how it was going to come together. I really was excited to do a British action movie. And at the heart of it, I wanted to explore this relationship with Joey and her brother, which is so, I feel, relatable. I feel like their relationship is very understandable to a lot of people. She's trying to do the best she can. They've had a really tricky time. And she messes up a lot, but she is trying to atone for that. And I really think that's what makes Martin's films so special, because of course the action's amazing and they're spectacles, but he always has this real beating heart at the center of his movies, always with a lot of joy and laughter too, in sometimes very unexpected places.
I also appreciated that your character is not like Jason Bourne. Like, you can be beat.
Oh, yeah. And it was one of the things I was like, if she's being beaten the shit out of, she has to look like she's being beaten the shit out of. And as time goes on, she's so tired and so messed up. And it sort of adds to that feeling of, fuck, this poor woman, what a day. But yeah, she can be beaten, yeah.
So towards the third act, you mentioned the makeup and the way your character looks. How tempting is it when you are made up like that and you're just beat up to just leave set and go to the supermarket and just get people's reaction to you? Well,
it was funny because I remember when we were doing The Marsh King's Daughter, there was a bit where I was quite bloodied and I would send pictures to my friends. And on this one, I was sending pictures again and everyone's like, are you okay? Why are you always beaten up in the things you do? The makeup in this was so phenomenal. It was one of those strange things. Charlie, so Tamsin, who also designed Magpie, she designed this, and Charlie did my makeup. There would be moments where I would forget, because of course it just feels like your face, and go to the bathroom and be like, oh my God, this insane black eye that she had built. Yeah, scary though.
I see, for me, I would be at the Starbucks immediately or going somewhere.
It would mess people up so much.
Yes, exactly. So Clive Owen is in the movie. And you have, I think, 0 scenes.
Yep.
Yeah. Were you like...
I mean, except when I'm next to his.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. But Mike, were you like, wait, Martin, can I have a scene with Clive?
Well, it's funny because when they said he was in it, I was like, oh my God, amazing, reunited. And then we did not share a scene. But I did say hello to him. And it was very joyful. Watching Clive come on set is really... He has such presence and magnetism. So I was there when he came on to do something and I thought, what a guy, what an actor. So
this was filmed, I read that part of this was filmed in Malta.
Yes.
Were you in Malta for this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was basically a holiday for me. It was really nice. Everyone else was working. Was I even on? Yes, I was. It was the very final moment when my face isn't even on camera. It was really nice.
Because I was going to say, I've been to Malta a few times.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's stunning.
And I'm like, what? And I was watching this, and I was watching the credits, and saw London, Canary Wharf, and Malta. I'm like, where was this in Malta?
They actually did some of the interiors in Malta. So they did inside the police HQ. And then just that gorgeous track back shot of the very end.
Yeah, I didn't. Tax rebates, everyone.
Yep.
You know.
Thanks, Malta.
By the way, if you can ever go to Malta, it is fantastic.
Well, they were also shooting Gladiator 2 at the time there. So Martin snuck over to the set to see what he could see. But it was unreal. We drove down the road. It's funny because then I was watching Gladiator 2. I was like, oh, we drove past that set. Because you could obviously see everywhere they were filming.
I was in Malta when they were filming Gladiator 2 and snapped set pics of the Colosseum, like from across the river. Did very well on Collider.
I'm sure.
I want to stress very well. You know, I was like, thank you. One of the things, though, with the villain in this, the antagonist, makes a lot of really good points, but just goes one step too far.
Yeah, I think the terrifying thing about real baddies is they are so clear in their beliefs and their purpose. And with the baddie in this, the root of what he's saying is he wants the world to be better. He wants people to stop screwing things up, which of course we can all relate to. But yes, the way he goes around it, and then ultimately the end goal for him is so extreme. And he has no qualms with putting everyone around him in danger and himself. And that is really what's terrifying.
Yeah, I actually, and this is maybe a little too serious or whatever, but I actually think that like a lot of movies, I think the world is really on a tipping point with how angry people are. And the film does a really, it points out the rich, anyway, I'm off, I could just, let me stop. I'm just going to get myself in trouble and just say that I think he makes good points in the movie, goes too far.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So what is it actually like filming the action scenes on set? Especially because this isn't a Marvel movie. You do not have 200 days to make this. So what is it actually like when you know let's talk about that sequence where you're burning the woman's face.
Oh, yeah.
Take us through filming that sequence and what it actually entails. Is that like a 1 day, 5 days? What is that?
So the fights together, the 2 fights I have, I'm going to say took 6 or 7 days to film all of them. And also in that time, you're trying really hard not to get injured. And my costumer on it, Katie, got one of those, like we associate them with like a grandma. You know, those things you can put in the microwave and they smell like lavender and you put them around your neck. That honestly kept me going because in between fighting, I couldn't cool down too much because of course you have to stay warmed up. So shout out to those Nana necklace things.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So typically, it depended. The first fight I have with the woman, because it was such an enclosed space, that was more, we were really trying to figure out how we could capture that because even the camera being where we were it was such a small area. But, oh no, actually even coming through the door. Yeah, all of it, it's weird. It takes both longer and less time than you think it's going to take. You feel like, oh, well, surely we can do this in 1 day. And then, of course, there's 100 other things to do. But I'm going to round it up to 2 weeks it took for all of the action.
Were you filming all the action in like that 2 week span? Yeah. What is that like every night going home?
Yeah. I mean, I was, the moment I come through and have the wrench, I literally pulled my arm back so hard and in the slightly wrong direction that the whole set rattled, all the lights rattled. And I thought I broke my bone. It was so painful. And of course, you're already tired because you've shot a whole movie. So that was really about trying to limit how injured I was. But yeah, it was super intense. And the wire work, me being Spider-Woman, all of that, all happened in that time.
What is it actually like? Is there someone on set who's specifically telling you, in these 2 weeks, you should eat these things, we're going to give you B12, like, Or is it sort of like you're on your own and you got to get through this?
I actually took it upon myself to do a meal thing, the whole shoot, because I knew I needed to be supported in a particular way. So I was making sure I was doing that, which I'm sure it would have been done otherwise, but it was something that I knew going in I really needed to maintain that particularly for that. And then obviously you just eat so much because you're so tired and going so consistently.
Yeah, but the only thing is you filmed a lot of this in London, and I found that this is inside baseball, but London craft service, not the best. America craft service, fantastic.
We had really good craft, and we had we had one amazing barista. Oh, those coffees, so good. And then we actually got into the habit of at 3 or 3:30, we would all get a hot chocolate. And it was really nice because it sort of...
Sugar?
The sugar
rush together.
Yeah, but it was just so lovely because it becomes a sort of ritualized moment of togetherness, and you sort of knew where you were in the day. Because the thing about doing stunts is time becomes a vortex. You just don't know where you are or how much you've done, or so it was a nice way to break up the day. That hot chocolate.
Towards the end of the film, you and your brother are talking about the Marvel movies, Kevin Feige, the Russo brothers. Yep. I obviously I laughed about this.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite Marvel movie?
Oh my God. Let's think.
Or a favorite Marvel character?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there was a curveball there. She wasn't expecting.
Oh, you know who I'm going to say? Oh, though, does it fall under Marvel? Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse. Does that fall under
the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Miles Morales.
It is Marvel, but it's not the MCU. It's
okay.
It's fine. It counts.
It counts. Okay.
Yeah. You recently signed on to do another movie with Martin Campbell.
I did.
So, what can you tell people about it? Are you filming it this year?
We should be. I play in fact, someone from the military, but an American military thing. I'm like, wow, does this sound just like Cleaner? It's not, but she has to save the day. Oh my God, I'm just a hero.
Listen, I'm totally down for that because I really believe that there's not enough female-led protagonists. Men get this movie with male stars, like a lot, and it's just nice when it's a woman kicking ass.
Also, it's interesting because I'm so specific about what I like script-wise, and he's so wonderful and old school. He took me out to dinner, and he had a folder with the script in it. I was like, this is amazing. So because it was him, because I love him, I was thinking, I'm going to do the script because it's you. But I love the script. The writing's super sharp. The relationships are brilliant. And honestly, it's totally different to this. It's just a really fantastic script. And getting to work with him again amazing.
What did you learn working with him on Cleaner that you're like, oh, I need to do this when we film this next movie?
Interestingly, one of the things that he talks about a lot is musicality in lines. And it's something I had never been cognizant of, but it was something that he's very specific about, the musicality of lines. And he'll often listen to a take and not watch it, which I've never had with a director before, just to feel the rhythm of the music of the language, which was quite lovely. But what I love about him is he's amazing at action, of course, but he's so specific about character. And the thing he loves to say is he'll come in and go, communion. And it was really, I love that word now, because to me it just means, what are you doing with this other actor on screen? Are you close enough? Are you sharing enough? And he'll come over and just be so close to your face, running it before you shoot it, and then he'll come in and do it again. It's just, it's a wonderful way to work.
I'm almost out of time, but I want to sneak in a few last things. Okay. I read that you did this video game called Trailblazer.
Yeah.
And I think it comes out next month.
Yeah.
You produced and you star. What can you tell people about it?
It's the story of Berta Benz, who was the first woman ever to do a road trip, basically. Her husband had invented a car, an automobile, but he had crashed it. It had all gone wrong. And it was illegal for them to be out doing anything like that in those times. So she snuck off in the car and did this 60-mile journey. And in the process, she had to figure out how to She figured out gearing on a car. She had to figure out the water system. There were various things she did along the way. So she's really, in the age of innovation, she was a real proper trailblazer.
Have you played the finished version of the game?
I haven't, no. It looked beautiful, the images that I've seen.
Sure. I don't actually know. Is it like a Steam game? Is it a console game?
It's a VR, is that?
Oh, it's VR.
Yeah, it's VR.
Okay. I'm looking forward to, I guess, next month. We Bury the Dead premieres at South by. What can you tell people about it? What are you excited for people to see in it?
We Bury the Dead is, I think it will be a very beautiful thing to see how people react to it, because my mum and sister watched it separately, and my mum said, oh, it was so sad, and my sister said, oh, it was so scary. And I was like, that's great, because it's a zombie movie, but at the heart of it is a woman trying to find her husband, and she doesn't know what she's going to find. She doesn't know if he's alive or dead or somewhere in between. So it's it's beautiful.
I read, and I don't know if this project is still happening, but Women in the Castle. Did this happen or did it not? Or?
Did it happen? I want more people to see that. No, that did not happen. I was desperate for it to happen.
I swear we're almost done. Heidi's going to kill me. Where is she? I swear we're just about done. Do you have a favorite piece of Star Wars merch?
I mean, my lightsaber. And it's so funny too. I have it in a sort of random place. And the other day I was...
Wait, do you have the actual prop? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I don't know.
And I was like, oh, my lightsaber. And there it was. Yes, I have. I actually have two.
What about like the toys and stuff that have been made? Do you have any of that stuff, or are you sort of like, no?
I have it. I had so much of it. And then I was like, it's really weird to just have loads of stuff with your own face on it. So that went out to various friends and families. I weirdly have a BB-8 in my car that I just can't part with. And it's sort of, I just can't have it out of the car. It's just been there, you know.
What is actually your favorite part about being in the Star Wars universe? Because I would imagine there's a lot of girls who see you in real life and must do like the double take.
It's weird. I feel like that the double take's been happening more recently. It's interesting. There are really times where it becomes more, I don't know. It's strange. It's sort of waves. But the best thing about being part of it is that I get to be part of it. I think, really. It's such a... Yeah, it's weird. Someone was talking about the Celebration announcement for me doing the new one. And honestly, nothing feels like that room. It's the most unbelievable thing when people are united in their love for something, for anything. And it just so happens that I'm part of the Star Wars world. It's just so beautiful. Ultimately, a film about good versus evil and people overcoming. It's just the feeling that we all have together is the best part.
I'm going to be in Tokyo, I think, for the new Celebration.
Oscar's going, I saw.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I was actually going to ask you, are you any plans to go to Tokyo?
I might be doing something then, production-wise. I was hoping to go, but I don't know.
Last thing for you. I read that you're attached to Mindfall, which sounds like a effing cool project. What can you tell people?
That was one of those things that it was supposed to go, and then COVID and all of it, but I'm still hopeful. I've become very comfortable with things either taking 10 years to get made or getting made tomorrow. And that's one of them that I really hope gets made.
Actually, my last thing. I swear this is my last thing. It's the beginning of 2025. What do you have lined up that like you're filming this year / doing that you can tell people? Because I don't know what's been announced and what hasn't been announced.
There's something next month that is very exciting that once I'm able to share it, it's literally a dream.
Is it like, so you're filming something?
Yeah.
Oh, so are you training right now? Or are you thinking about it?
I'm thinking about it.
Got it.
And then there's potentially something after that. There are so many potentials happening this year. If all of the potential things were happening, I would have literally not a moment to spare. But I would hope that the other thing that's potentially happening, I will know in the next couple of weeks.
I like the mystery, and I obviously
But also it's, I don't want to jinx it.
Sure.
That's the other thing, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you'll also come up with another idea for a movie.
Oh, I have. Yeah. So Tom and I are doing something that...
Your husband?
Yes, who wrote Magpie. He has written something else that we have been waiting sort of for the green light on that might be being green lightings. And then actually I've had an idea that I'm working on with someone else that is very exciting, but also quite strange because it's the first time I've done that with another writer.
You're cheating on your husband?
Honestly, he was when I went to the meeting, he was like, "I can't believe you're doing this." But we had talked about it, and honestly, he doesn't have the bandwidth because he's also writing something else that was his idea, but that we will do together. He just Yeah, by
the way, you need sometimes help to get things, like it's...
No, but as in I want to be in it. And I'm
Oh.
like, please show me the script. Because I know he read the Ed Zwick book, Hits, Flops and Other Illusions. And he's doing...
Which is loaded with stories.
Yeah. He's basically written out the whole thing without having written out the script. But it's so fantastic. I can't wait to read the script.
Well, I'm just going to say I am so happy for the way things are going with you, and hopefully there'll be another screening of something later this year based on our track record. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you, everyone.
Cleaner comes out on February 21st. Please, if you enjoyed the movie, use that thing called social media and hashtag cleaner / also cleaner movie. Use both, what the hell. And thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks everyone over there.
Thank you.